Yeah,
I'm
I'll
not
give you
Latvian
that.
though. I guess he is Latvian.
All right. Okay, you can still hear me. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It was something with okay, we're live again. All right. And record. Okay.
Ooh, I'm gonna send some
Live.
link
Okay, you can still hear me.
Live.
Okay.
live
Okay.
and in stereo.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome everyone to Eyes Wide Watch Club, episode 3.
Great.
Evening, boys. The West has fallen.
That it has.
A lot has happened since we last did this.
Yeah. But, you know,
Yeah.
I am actually very happy. Not because of the world. I'm happy because the movie I picked for me was such a delight and a breath of fresh air. So I recommended One Cut of the Dead, 2017, last time, and I've never seen it before. This was my first time watching it. I just heard a lot of hype about it, and yeah, why don't I guess I'll just start with what I thought. Yeah, I absolutely.
Can you explain what the movie is?
It's
Like, talk about the movie a little bit.
Yeah, it's a Japanese zombie movie about a film crew that is making a zombie movie in an abandoned warehouse. But apparently, the warehouse actually was an old testing site for like military experiments on humans, and it's all one take. And then things are revealed that we'll talk about. It's all kind of a fake out, and the movie's basically broken up into 3 sections. And it's only an hour and a half. But yeah, like I said, I don't know why I took so long to watch this movie. I absolutely fucking loved it. It just left me like on such a high note and so happy at the end. And I think there are legitimate themes that they're playing around with, even though they're really simple. I think just because of the execution, it's so perfect. Even though the themes might be a little simple, but it just makes for such an effective experience, and such like a universal sentiment. But I would basically recommend a movie like this to pretty much anyone. And there's of course, the filmmaking talent on display here. So yeah, I fucking loved it. I was blown away by it. So.
Was this your first time watching it?
This movie? No.
Yeah, it's my first time watching it. I've never seen it before. And I did know, one of the things, I did just hear a lot of people hyping it up for a little while, just in certain spaces. I heard people talking about it, and how great they thought it was. And the one thing I kept hearing was, it's such a great movie, but you can't look up anything about it. I think I did know when the movie started. I did realize, I think I did hear that this was a one-take movie, or it was all in one take. And something about it, it's a lot of it is just the poster and the title really grabbed me. I love Grindhouse. I love low-budget horror schlock movies. So when I see a poster like this, and kind of why I think I'm drawn to horror comedy stuff, it just seemed right up my alley. Like, it looks on the poster like a Grindhouse movie. And so if that's what it was offering, I was so fucking ready. But yeah, so what did you guys think about it? First initial thoughts?
I don't know. Remy, you want to go first?
I'll go. So I had seen this movie before. This is my second time watching it. I had watched it maybe like a year or two ago. For similar reasons that Dan cited, it's something that a lot of people in like the online film spaces talk about a lot because it is a like truly like dollars to donuts like small like indie film. Like this is a film of like all like complete unknowns, like a first time feature for a lot of them, and they're just coming together to make a movie with what little money and what little technical know-how they made. And sure enough, it worked. It was a big success. That year, it like made it all the way to like Japan's like equivalent of like it's like their version of the Oscars. It like placed in it got like a bunch of nominations actually. Like it got into like picture and director and a bunch of different nominations across the board. And it's so successful that it has like a bunch of different like spin-off films released in like different languages. There was like the French version, The Final Cut, that came out like I think like a year or two ago, that made its rounds in the States. And yeah, no, I heard about it, thought it was interesting. I checked it out. I am as I am frequent to hype up, I am a Shudder subscriber. Get on Shudder. They are not paying me. Shudder sponsor me right now. And yeah, I watched it and I was happy to return to it when Dan picked it. I'm a big fan of this movie. I think its heart is in the right place. I think it's really impressive for what it gets done. I do think that it has themes that very obvious themes that we can also get into as we get along that Dan touched on. And yeah, I was very happy to revisit this. Gene, how are you feeling?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I'm very happy to have watched it. I don't think it's a movie I would have watched otherwise. Not like because I'm disinterested. I probably just wouldn't have heard about it otherwise.
Yeah.
But no, I actually really quite enjoyed it. Solid pick, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks.
Solid
No, I didn't.
pick.
Like I said, it was just something I didn't I don't know. I knew I had to see it at some point, but I don't know why I put it off for so long. And it's only an hour and a half. You breeze by it. I basically watched it twice. Just in preparation for this. Because that's the cool thing about the movie too, is it rewards so many rewatching, like or so many rewatches. Like you can pick up on more things that are going on when you watch the movie that I didn't even think about. I didn't even notice the first time around watching it. So it really rewards like just watching it multiple times. So yeah.
I had that experience too.
Yeah. So yeah, basically we can break it down. It goes into basically the three different parts of the movie. So when it first starts, we get the opening shot of and I that's the thing too about this movie. I was waiting for like a shoe to drop. I knew something was going to happen to pull the rug out, but I didn't really know what. Because it's funny, when the movie first started and I first noticed, oh, this is all one take. Like they're not cutting. And
Yeah.
I thought to myself, oh, wait a minute, I think I did hear that about this movie. I then stopped thinking about the rug being pulled out from under me because I was so focused on the one take aspect of it. Because I'm like a film nerd and I'm better than your average viewer. I'm just smarter than most people, but I picked up on no, but I was like thinking, wow, like this must have been a whole, I was just so impressed watching it of just getting the one take thing down. And so I was so focused on that. And yeah, I loved right in the beginning the sense of humor that it established. So, you got the two actors. They're, a guy and a girl. The guy's a zombie going after the girl. Then they yell, cut. And you get the director character, who's like one of my new favorite movie characters ever. I wrote down, I didn't write down like any quotes from this movie, but I did write down the opening monologue that the director gives the girl. He's looking at the girl kneel down on the ground and he goes, "You're facing death? Yes. You're really scared? Yes. As if it was for real. Were you acting? Yeah? Yes. Not as if. It should come natural." What do you mean come naturally? Give me real fear. True shiver in your face. Face. He's like slamming the wall. Want to know why you look so fake? 'Cause your life itself is utter fake. You say nothing but lies.
I don't know if there's a dub of this, but I watched it just like subbed. Like, how did you?
Yeah, no, I watched it subbed.
Oh yeah, I watched it subbed.
Yeah,
by the
way.
times.
I was like, there's no dub of this, is there? Right? I was like, wait, am I crazy?
No. By the way,
memorize the lines.
By the way, this monologue sounds way funnier in Japanese. Because your life itself is utter fake. You say nothing but lies. Why don't you peel off that lie-infested mask of yours? And he's slapping the walls. And then the guy comes over and goes, hey, you're over the line. And he smacks him in the face and goes, fuck off, you little shit. This is my show, my work. You've been talking back since rehearsal. And on its own, that's funny of setting up the abusive director psychopath. But in context with what you learn later, the guy goes in the booth, wait a minute, he's improvising.
Yeah.
So great. But yeah, I don't know what your guys' experience was like watching the first act play out. But this was my thing when I was watching it for the first time, and I don't even know if I would, I don't think I would say this is a negative to the movie, but just something, and maybe just because I don't even know, just, were you, especially Gene, like watching it the first time, were you kind of picking up on some of the weird flaws in the first act? Because
yes, yeah. So yeah, I did, and then that actually. So like, did either of you know? Did you catch on to? Oh, this is a movie within a movie within a movie. And if you did, when did you catch on to it?
I mean, I knew going in because I knew the conversation around the movie that it was going to be a movie within a movie.
Okay.
I didn't know when it was going to flip when I watched it the first time. So I was like, oh, are these errors for real, or is this like a thing? So it's like the movie's always very good, even if when you go in knowing that of like tricking you, because you're like, because like people like you and I, like we watch movies very closely, so we're going to be like, oh, why is this thing there? Why did it do this? That's problematic. But then like it flips it on its head. It's like, ha ha ha! Now you see. So it's very good. Like that.
Well, there were a few things that I thought were really well done. Like there were a few things that as I'm watching it, I thought was like, oh, this is an interesting like creative direction. Like when the guy when he vomits all over the camera assistant, you see some of it splatter. You see some of it get onto the camera, and I thought at first like, oh, this is a fun little like director's choice. Like we find out in context that was supposed to happen, but like I just thought like, oh, that's a fun little choice. And then you get blood on the camera, and it's like wiped, and I was like, wait a minute, So again, I thought these things were like, for a while, I'm like, that's a fun little choice, but then like there's things like so yeah, it got to a point where there was a certain. So the part that I realized, like, wait, this is a like, oh, is this like a meta kind of thing, was when she's in the shed like crouching. That's when it hit me like, oh, that's when it hit me. Oh my god,
that's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Both like when it happens and then when it loops around. No, like the first thing that always stands out to me is when after they finish, like, during the first act, after they finish the sequence with the director and they go upstairs and they're like talking, and then suddenly the cameraman just wanders off to go outside and they're like focusing on like these rando characters that you didn't care about, and you're like, why did you do that? I guess we're introducing the zombie plot, but why didn't you just cut away? Like, that's like a little odd, but like that's always like the first thing that always is like, oh yeah, this is the movie that we're doing today, So yeah.
No.
But there were a few things too. Like I thought, like so we find out the diarrhea subplot, but like I noticed, like they're in like the first part of when we're watching the movie within the movie, when they're being attacked by the zombie. He's just sitting there to the side, not helping them, and I thought it was actually really funny.
Well, that was supposed to be the movie that the director was like.
I took notes. I took notes, and I was like, "Wait, why isn't that guy helping them?" And then we find out why, because he's actually like legitimately in like distress. He just like broke character. But so like there are things that a lot of the times I thought was like, oh, this is like kind of making fun of how campy horror movies get. Like when the in movie camera, like when he hurts his back, so he just can't move. He's like on the ground, he can't move. Like that was a really long like shot for some reason. I thought it was just making fun of like campy like zombie flicks. You know what I mean? The drunk guy, every time he shows up, he's like, ah, he's like super over the top. I thought that was actually really fucking funny. So there were some things done that I'm like, this is kind of like making fun of like schlocky movies, you know? But then you find out,
Well,
kind of.
so like to me, what it's capturing is because this is inspired by a play. I don't know if you guys saw that. I think it's called like Ghost in the Box. Yeah, the director saw a play, and that essentially different story, but like similar mechanics, play within a play. And he was so taken with it that he developed like a screenplay inspired by that premise. And those like that like theatrical sensibility carries through into the movie. So like that entire experience of there kind of being like a back area away from production where like the DP is and the producer is and like some crew members are, and they're like flipping through the script anxiously as production is going on, and they're like, oh, we can cut this and we can do this and we can quickly run over here and tell them this. Like that's exactly what opening night of a play is like. Let me tell you as a former theater kid, like that's 100% what your stage manager is doing to make sure that things are going as planned, and if they aren't going as planned, what we can improvise to overcome that. So it carries a lot of that mentality from it, which I personally enjoy. It makes it like so much fun. The fact that you have like not only that person flipping through the script and coming up with like contingencies, you also have like actors in the sense the director who's cast himself like running back behind well, not behind stage, but in this case like behind where the production is, and being like, okay, we did this, now what's the next move? Like that's like very like that like backstage idea. So I thought that was I always thought that was like a lot of fun both times that I watched it, though the second time around, as Dan alluded to before, that's something that I'm more tuned in on, like that that parallelism, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and the production's all in like black too, and I thought that was funny. Like when I'm watching, I was like, oh, they're wearing all black, like you do like when you're like a stagehand like production, like at a
they're like stage crew, literally, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really fun. So I did notice that, right? So remember like how you said like you caught a lot of the stage stuff. What stood out to me with the stage production stuff is like the production in all black, which I thought was a good little touch.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I noted. Well, it was funny when I was watching it the first time. I do remember specifically, I started to notice the boom guy, like you said when he had to take a shit. That but that we learn after. But there's a part I didn't even pick up on when they're sitting there, and then the woman just kind of improvises and like, or the guy asks her like, "Oh, do you have any hobbies?" I didn't really pick up on that at first, but what I did pick up on was the boom guy. He just kind of awkwardly walks into frame at one point when they're talking, and I thought to myself, wait a minute, he's in the room? What is he doing? And then it was, I don't know, it was weird, but I didn't really think anything of it. And then when you get scenes like the camera when they wiped the blood off of the camera, at that point, Gene, I thought the movie was playing 4D chess, and I was like, no, I'm playing 6D chess. I'm 6 feet ahead of you. I was like, no, what we're meant to believe is that the camera that's actually filming the movie that we're watching is part of their movie crew. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well,
with the director.
Yes.
Like the director is running around still trying to get the shot, and the guy that's filming the footage that we're watching is part of that in-universe film crew.
You're supposed to think that. That's why the director like looks right at him and goes, "Keep rolling." Right.
That's not exactly what it was in context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But right, we're meant to believe.
That's what you're supposed to believe.
Right.
Yes. And that's like Yeah, and that is one thing that like ordinarily I would knock, because I think that like a lot of like found footage movies that operate in this space, they try to find ways to explain why there is this camera filming things, and they often like either they don't think through that premise and how it like is supposed to relate to things, or they just like forget it and move past it. And that's always like a big hang up with me with a lot of like contemporary found footage films. But what this does is says, yeah, he's a character, I guess. And then you find out the reason is, oh, there's this technical hurdle that we really need to overcome. So we're kind of just improvising and making it work as we go on the fly. So yeah, it's a great bit.
And
it is a great bit. Well, no, Remington, to add to your point real quick, after a while, I don't know if you guys noticed, so like we're meant to believe for the first 30 minutes that we're watching the director of True Fear go crazy, reanimate zombies to shoot like his real movie, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And with the found footage thing, I don't know if you guys noticed, like I hit a point where I'm like, wait, why are the zombies ignoring the camera, man? Which is like,
I mean,
I guess it would be a flaw of like remember you said like the found footage stuff. A lot of other movies try to do the found footage thing, but you always hit a point where you just kind of have to ignore a little bit the camera like part of it. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
And that's something I noticed. Like, wait, like they're just like, flat out ignoring there's a cameraman. I just thought it was really funny.
Yeah, and I always find myself asking, it's like, okay, if I was in this person's shoes, A, why am I still filming? B, how am I able in my running panic state, able to keep the camera as steady as it is right now? Like, you know, that's always like a hang up I have, but like, you know, it is literally part of what's happening right now in the context of this film. And so I give it a lot of props for overcoming that hurdle.
Yeah. I chalked it up to the cameraman in universe, quote unquote, was just as crazy as the director character, and was just like, keep filming, we're just gonna capture this, like. And I think it totally works, but yeah, I just thought it was so, and that's the thing, it's not just that they're doing like this trick of a fake zombie movie. I thought the movie that they were making was genuinely good and funny. I thought the director was fucking hilarious in the context of just
in action, it's so good.
He just action. But what I was asking myself the first time around was like, I didn't think it was a problem just because I thought it was so fucking funny. Was like, where is he running off to every 10 minutes? Like, he just runs outside, and then he just, but that's part of the comedy appeal. He just jumps back into frame and is like, action, keep. It
also like,
never was not funny.
If you put yourself in the mindset of like the first act movie, it works. It is absurd, but it also works in the context of, oh, this is a director who sold his soul to make like a pact with the devil to like raise an army of the undead to then like scare to create a good movie. And so like when you're that evil, sometimes, you know, in movie logic, sometimes the laws of like, you know, like physics and reason and like logic don't really apply. And so like you can do things like, oh, one way that I don't get bit by the zombie is if I stand behind the zombie and put him in like a bit of a half Nelson, full Nelson, and then throw him at people. That's how I duck and dodge and dive, you know, and it works. You're just so evil you don't care anymore.
And yeah, and it's funny that they kind of have they give themselves the benefit in this movie, which I didn't. You don't even really realize it until after that there are only like 2 or 3 zombies walking around, and they're the slow zombies, right? So it adds to the comedic, like he can be outside the van on the other side of the van just screaming, "Keep filming, get that bitch!" Like and it just like unironically. I wanted to watch this movie that they were presenting. Like, this is a movie I would love, where the director's just a psychopath trying to get them killed and just get the shot. But like, to your point, Remington, too, I also was thinking this during the movie as well. We've seen characters like this in other movies. I was thinking specifically of this is like kind of a weird one, but Jack Black in Peter Jackson's King Kong. Do you remember him in that movie?
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
He was always obsessed with like, gotta keep the camera rolling, and then it like only was he broken in that movie after like
that's a trope, dude.
Right? Yes,
and that
it's
goes
a
back
trope.
to like the original King Kong too. Like if you've watched the original King Kong, like that's like a heightened version of what that original movie was putting down, but like that's definitely that's like very much in spirit of what the original King Kong is doing. I was personally reminded again in that first act movie of it's kind of like reminds me of like Evil Dead in some ways.
Yeah.
Like the whole idea of like characters getting like chopped up and blood all over them, and someone's like running in and being like, "This is going to be shit," and like the shots of the close-ups on the face, like I was very I was feeling Evil Dead in those moments.
Yeah, I did read on I did read on the trivia that the opening sequence where he flips out on the girl and tells her that her life is fake and lies. That was inspired by, or at least they say it was inspired by Stanley Kubrick with Shelley Duvall in The Shining. Like they were going for something like that.
Which is apparently an urban legend. So, the power of ideas over
right.
X. Yeah.
But then and then it was weird. So a lot of the things I wasn't picking up on, but there were things when like you mentioned, Gene, when she is in the warehouse at that one point, and then she has she's crouching and she's got her hand over her mouth and she's looking like all terrified as if there's someone standing over, which there is in context, but you don't know that. And then she just kind of keeps going and it holds on her and I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck was that all about? Did I miss? Like I was thinking,
well, zombie walks in a frame. The legs walk in the frame. Like you see that.
But are we?
I don't remember.
But like yes, but she didn't. I don't know. It was off to me, and I didn't. Yeah. I kept thinking, did I miss something? And then when she picks up, like just those moments where I thought something weird was I was like, I just kept thinking, wait a minute, did I just stroke out? Like, did I miss something that happened?
So to me that moment in the context of the movie of the first act, it works if like, I don't know if you guys were ever like the Walking Dead fans, but like, sometimes they will do a bit in the Walking Dead where it's like, oh, we're hiding from the zombies rather than like fighting them or running away from them. And so like, while it is weird that you wouldn't just cut to show the zombie, it to me, if I was reading that film as just like straightforward, like that's what that would suggest to me, that he just like successfully
right, okay,
like hid from them. Yeah.
That's what I took it as too, Dan.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really well done with the framing of the shot. Like it's just like the legs and just Eve's like, But again, like a part that started to give away the whole facade to me was like the zombie would have seen her. But whatever.
Maybe. Yeah, when she like started running down the roof the first time away from the guy and she picked up the axe, I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of random. And then
how lucky am I? An axe.
I was like, wait a minute. But I kept
that's literally the line. It's like
I don't know why, and I think, and God, man, the one take nature of this works so well, because I kept thinking to myself, because it's such constant action, it was almost like a mental trick where I just kept thinking, oh, I must have missed something. Or did I was I not?
Oh, me too.
It was very video gamey to me when she picked up the axe. Like it was like very it was a very video game thing to me that I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, but like if you're watching like the horror schlock that this is like homaging a little bit, like that's also like part of that, right? Like you get like your MacGuffins, like your little like Deus Ex Machina, so yeah.
And it was funny, which this is explained, and this was genuinely me just being stupid and not picking up on it. In the end, when she recreates like it's the same thing happening, but the boy is actually a zombie, like at the end, and she's like holding the axe to him, and he keeps pausing, but he does it like 4 times, and I'm like, what? I'm like, why is he doing that? Which actually it is a callback to the beginning, because that's what he does in the beginning. So that's not really an error as much as me just not remembering a callback. But yeah, in those moments, I was like, why is this taking so long?
No, it is
Yeah.
weird. It is weird that he pauses 4 times. Like that was weird.
It like also works because it's like, oh, this is drama, right?
Yeah.
This is like I'm seeing the love of my life has now been turned into a zombie, and I'm confronted with like the idea of having to like behead him now, and like I can't bring myself to do it, and we're doing it in this like mise en scene of like this callback to like what happened before. So it's drama. It's really just an error. Like they're stalling for time, but in the context it's drama.
Right. It's actually better than Citizen Kane when you think about it. Like.
So wait, so when as I'm watching it, it gets to the scene where she's on the roof in the pentagram, and I look at the time and I'm like, wait, there's an hour left in this movie. What did you guys think was gonna happen, or were you guys just kind of like, I'm in for the ride? Like, did you guys have any theories? Like, because I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait, what the fuck's going? Because like I went into this movie blind, so I really had no idea what was gonna happen. Like I had no clue. And then once once you start like it right kind of immediately cuts to like when they're talking to the director, like, hey, we're doing the zombie thing, do you wanna? And I'm like, oh, we're gonna see how this happened. That's cool. Like I just wasn't expecting. I had no clue what was gonna happen.
I didn't know what was gonna happen, but right, I did kind of think about that that there was, I didn't check the time, but I was like, oh, is this the end? But honestly, I was like, I still loved it. I mean, I thought there was going to be more, but I thought there was going to be, I don't know. I didn't really expect it was going to pull out to being like, oh no, now we're in universe, where it cuts to him in the polo when he's like at his day job.
Yeah.
What I was really paying attention to in that moment, because I'm like a film nerd and I'm smart and I'm better than everyone, was when I did actually notice the crane shot when the camera pans up. And the whole time, because I'm thinking of it, I'm watching this movie at this point thinking, wow, they did this all in one take. Like, this is really impressive. How'd they do this? Like, how are they doing this? How is this being coordinated? Even like within just the production, all meta layers aside, they're still doing this in one take. I was like, wow, this is very impressive. How are they doing this? And then when the camera pans up to do that final shot, I did think to myself, like, wait, how did they do that? Like, how did they, I didn't really think of like a crane, but I was like, yeah, they had to lift the camera up. Like, did they attach it to a rope or something? I was like, how did that happen? So I thought it was impressive, but you know what, Gene? When it cut to them in universe and starts the second act, I was disappointed. I was like, oh, fuck you. I wanted a Grindhouse Tarantino movie. God damn it.
Did you not know that it was like this going in?
I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. But Dan and I both went in blind. You didn't go in blind whatsoever. Like, what did you know about
No, I mean, like, I knew the concept of the movie. I didn't know like when it was going to flip. So like when the actual thing ended, I was like, oh, we're gonna flip now? Is there more to like the movie within a movie before it happens? I knew there was going to be a flip. Yes, like I knew that this was like I knew that this was like going to be a movie within a movie. So, but like I didn't know
within a movie within a movie.
Yeah, so like me watching the first time, I know it's a movie within a movie, but I don't know if the things I'm watching are actually errors or things that are going to be explained. I don't know when it's going to flip per se. Like I don't know when it's going to be revealed to me for the first time, so like just because these credits are rolling, I don't know if that means, oh, is that really the end of the movie within a movie, or are we going to be still doing more things in universe before it flips? Maybe it doesn't get revealed that it's a movie until like a post-credit scene. Like I don't know. But like so when the credits started rolling, I was like, oh, maybe we're going to get to it, but I don't really know. So like I guess it wasn't like surprising to me, but it also wasn't like movie ruining. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you didn't know when it was going to happen, but you knew something was coming.
Yeah.
So I had no idea it was a flip. So I'm like, wait, there's credits. I was like, is this a fake ending? And like I checked the timestamp. I'm like, oh, it's only been half an hour. What the fuck? And then that's really where I'm like, wait, what's going to happen now? And then once the flip happens, I'm like all in. Because like unlike like I mean, like, I don't know. Like for me, it was like, okay, that was a fun 30 minutes. Like it wasn't my favorite. It was okay. Like at that point, I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. Actually, opposite of Dan. For me, I'm like, that was an okay zombie flick, I guess. And then something happens, and I'm like, ooh, now I'm more interested.
Yeah. No, because the flavor of the movie we were watching was what I like. Like that's my taste. Like I wanted.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it, but I'm like, what is it? I'm like, what the fuck's all this acclaim for? That was all right.
No, I appreciated it. I knew there was going to be more, but I didn't know they were going to pull out of universe and there was going to be like a meta layer. I thought something was going to. I thought, I don't know, maybe the director is still alive. I don't know. I didn't know. All I was so impressed at that point that it was just a one take movie. I was just really impressed with that. And I thought the director was just so funny. But so yeah, when they pulled out, I was immediately like, and noticed that, like, all this stuff, like, it was the look of the movie was different. It was more modern. It wasn't one take anymore. And I was like, oh, fuck this. I was like kicking and screaming like a child. Like, no, I want my cheap grindhouse zombie film back.
So when did it bring you back in?
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
No, okay. I knew, I started to appreciate what they were doing. Because I think when you look at it, every moment of that second act has a purpose and is building the story that they're revealing.
That's really well done.
It's
really well done.
Right before we get to the second act, I do just have to mention about the first act, which I picked up on when I watched it a second time. Did you guys notice that? And I didn't notice this on a first watch. They never fully explained the legend of the warehouse that they're in. They never get to fully explain it. I know, but I thought it was funny because that's part of the rewrites. No, but like they say something about, the director says like, I put the blood on the roof, which later I realized I didn't think about it, was he put the star on the roof. And then I was like, wait, how did that create other zombies? So you intentionally made that one, because there's no other zombies that weren't their crew members. So you intentionally turned one of the crew, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then like the woman, she starts to explain it to the boy and the girl, and she doesn't get to finish the story. And I think that was by design, that we're not supposed to pick up on a first viewing in the first act, because it's literally due that because they had to improvise or something was wrong with the drunk guy or whatever. So I noticed that a second time around, they were literally like, she was literally in the middle of telling them what the legend was, what the deal was with this military site, but they never really fully told it. So I liked that on a second watch.
That's something I realized. It got around at the start. I'm like, wait, wouldn't the first zombie be like a military dude or something?
Right.
Yeah.
But then I didn't think about it as I kept going. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So you cut out.
Oh no, it's okay. Yeah. So just Act 2, I started to right away get into it, but also on a first viewing, you're picking it apart, right? You're seeing it's such a weird, like, reverse engineered way to watch a movie, especially for the first time, because now the story's revealing itself to you. This movie is genuinely brilliant. I think this movie's fucking amazing, like just genius at like the writing of it. So when you're introduced to this world and you realize that, okay, the director, he's a journeyman director. He gets hired for this project. Okay, fine. I'm like going along with it. And then you meet his wife, and his wife is the makeup girl in the movie. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is she? And then you see her doing self-defense classes. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm still so stupid at this point. I'm like, how does that tie into the script of their movie that she's doing self-defense? I was so retarded, and I was like, wait a minute. How is this? And I think that was the moment where I was reeled back in. I was thinking, where is this? Where, how are they doing this? And then you
Yeah.
learn that he has a daughter, and she's an aspiring filmmaker too. And at that point, I was still not on its side. I'm like, wait a minute, why are we getting introduced to his daughter? What does this have anything to do with anything? And it won me, it reeled me in so hard. And then you start to see the table reads, and you see there is an actual actor who's meant to play the director, his character, and you're like, wait a minute, like the Leo meme. I'm like, something's going wrong with that guy. Something's happening. Like, I'm taking the movie's bait so hard. Like, so
in a way, you are the perfect movie viewer for this movie. You are the ideal audience member. Yeah,
I am, because I'm like, you promised me a fucking grindhouse zombie flick. You gave it to me. You pulled the rug out from under me, and then I'm like, fuck you. But yeah, I'm trying to think. It works up, or it builds up so many funny, it's not just connecting everything and being smart for the sake of connecting everything and being smart. All of the little character developments and backstories are genuinely funny and entertaining. Like the pop star, the kid, the boy character, he's he's like this pompous actor asshole who's just too above it all for everything.
I thought that was so good. I really loved that, because the actor is playing this like typically like genuine like zombie, love struck kid, and you find out like, oh no, he's actually like a douchebag.
Yeah, he's like douchebag Timothy Chalamet.
That was really good. And then I love how the actor, like the real life actor, to play two completely different roles.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Yeah, and then the girl is apparently like this pop star, and the director, you just see him trying so hard to pull everything together. And it's it's one of those homages to filmmaking and how difficult it is, and how he's literally trying to steer this ship and keep everything together. Like, just holding it all together with duct tape as these actors he's trying to reel in, which you can see happening in real life. I love the girl who's like, I guess she's like a pop star in real life, they think they mention.
An idol, yeah.
Yeah, and she there's a funny moment where he's talking to her, and it brings all of it. So it's payoff for the rest of the movie, because he says to her, can't you just like she's like, oh, can I get some eye drops? And he's like, can't you just actually cry? And she's like, no, I don't. I think the eye drops would just be easier. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, you're an actor, like, getting paid. They're just such lazy pieces of shit. The rich, successful ones.
Well, one thing I would say though is that one thing the movie reveals to us is that she's actually a lot more like competent than her like in movie character is, in the sense that like the entire production, other than the contribution of the director like stepping in and like taking over that character, a lot of the production like hinges on her and her ability to like think on the fly and like take the cues when they come. Like she kind of like rises to the occasion. And that's one thing that I really enjoy, because like one thing that I've always chafed at as I've gotten more immersed into film and studied film, is how like very oftentimes very like underwritten female characters are. And how like, like the trap of the ingenue, like you get like these big major female parts and they're kind of just there to be like there to support the male lead, and even it's just like, oh, I'm really sad, but I'm happy that you're doing well and I'm here for you, and I'm really sad, and oh no, I'm scared, I'm running, I'm scared, I'm gonna die, I might get assaulted, you're gonna look at me a lot, you're not doing much. And then you realize it's like, no, this woman, she's never acted with the character, she's never acted before, she's getting thrown into this situation, and she's kind of making the best of it. She thought she would have like this experienced actor as her scene partner, and then he can't do it anymore. And then she's kind of just like, oh, I'm carrying this, I'm doing this. And you can kind of see when the director yells cut at the end of the movie, and they're all like laughing, and then they're in their joy at what they accomplished. They're all like looking at her because she pulled this off. Like the movie would not work. Their movie would not work if she didn't have the ability to be like, okay, yes, I'm holding my face. I'm in character while I'm reading this cue card, or yes, I understand I need to run to this point and not to that point anymore. And
Yeah.
so like I like that rug pull. I think it works and speaks well of the movie.
The movie does that twofold too, with the director's daughter kind of taking over, like directing behind the scenes, and then when I guess the producer wants to cut the final scene, and
It's so sweet.
because they're like, oh, the crane broke, and she's the one who's like, why don't we just do this? So it works twofold. I mean, how you were saying, like it's two women who rise to the occasion. That was really nice. In the end, like it's his daughter who's at the top of the pyramid. It's like symbolic, like she's taking the reins from him.
It's a callback to the photo that the director was like crying about earlier.
So I know we're skipping ahead, but like it's so simple, but it's so
many layers. It's really good.
Fucking effective. That last shot not the last shot, but them all getting on the pyramid to get that crane shot. It's so simple, but it's so like the symbolism and just it's so visually pleasing, of like, teamwork, of how this production, it had to be a group of people coming together, to get something done. It's so simple, but it works so hard. And then the father-daughter relationship because the director, we learn through the backstory that he's just like a journeyman director, and he didn't like, it's art versus commerce, and it just that last, like, as they do the pyramid, he's like, no, we're getting the fucking crane shot. And it just it warmed my cold dead heart. I was like, I thought it was so perfect, and it was great.
What did you guys think of the second flip with you find out like, oh no, the wife gets really into the roles and now she's kind of gone fucking crazy?
Oh, I love her. She's like my favorite character.
That was so good. Like I loved like watching the first 30 minutes. Like I'm thinking like, oh, like she's really good. Like this is like because you would have no idea. You'd think like, oh, this is part of the plot. Like she snaps and she's like, nope, she's bitten. We have to kill her. And she was so like stern and dramatic. And then you find out later, like, no, she's kind of just lost her fucking mind.
It's like so funny because like in the context of like the first act movie, you're like, okay, what is this palm thing? But then it's like, oh, you're establishing that she can fight, right? She knows how to handle herself, and then like you see her being like violent and tough in like future scenes, and it works. But then you just learn, no, she just like loses it, and it's just like, oh, I know self-defense, and just like goes off the rails, and everyone like watching it on the monitor is like, what the fuck is she talking about? What is she doing right now? You got to stop her.
Well,
and I love how the daughter's just like, yeah, she kind of loses herself in the roles. Oh yeah, she broke a star's arm. Well, that's why she had to stop acting.
Oh my god, when the director is like, anyone but mom, you have no idea the trouble she used to give me.
Yes. You don't realize. And that's what I think. That's where I think this movie won me back over so quickly, because, like I was saying, I think another part of me where I initially got so disappointed when they switched into the second act, and pulled the rug out from under you. I thought that in a lesser movie, what they would basically do is, they're showing you how all these things connect, and just like being, oh, look at how clever we are. We're tying all these threads, whatever. But it's not actually interesting. It's just connecting all these threads and callbacks just for the sake of it. But they actually made all these characters funny and interesting with their backstories. And there was a purpose to it. Like, they didn't have to add that detail that she goes crazy on set, but it's just funny. It's a funny detail.
I think a lesser movie would have done a whole thing instead of like, hey, that first third was a found footage thing. Now we're going to show you these characters in the real life, and we're all like, we're heading towards like that. We know the bleak ending because they all die. I feel like the lesser movie would have just done that, and like, no, this doesn't do that. It's so much better for it.
Right. I did think when we get to the third act, when you're seeing the actual production from their perspective, I was so like thinking like 4D chess on this. I was like, no, now they're gonna have real zombies show up in the real world. I was ready for that. I was ready for that. I still wasn't convinced.
Aren't you glad they didn't?
Yes, I am in hindsight. Yeah, because what they accomplished was so great.
So much. Yeah, I often hate it when movies that are like, you're like, oh yeah, I like this more grounded, realistic approach. That's kind of like, no, the fake thing that it's in your head is not real. And then it turns out it's like, actually, what if it was? Then like the last few minutes,
long legs.
Yeah, literally long legs.
The real rug pull is that there's no actual zombies in the movie at all. That's the real rug pull.
So good. No one dies. Like no one actually dies. It's so good.
Yeah. Who the hell? Oh yeah, with the pop star, the boy character. I loved that so much.
Chalamet character.
Yeah, I can't pronounce the character names, but he the director keeps telling him during the production, because he keeps getting all pissed off and being like, this is fucking bullshit, and the director's going, no, you don't understand, this is your movie, you're the star, this is your production. And he keeps giving him these pep talks, and then not only you get the improvised scene of him smacking him in the face, but I was laughing to myself even after the movie thinking about that, because not only is the actual the movie that they're making, the One Cut of the Dead, he's not even the star, the girl clearly is, but when you look at the movie poster, it's the director and the girl. The boy's not even on the actual movie poster in real life.
Is that not him on the bottom right? Let me look at it. Hold on. Is that not him on the bottom right?
No, that's
like
no, that's the kid with the glasses, the one that gets thrown up on.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. And then the left is the dude with diarrhea. I can't tell who the top.
He's like one of the only ones not on the poster.
Is he not on the poster at all? Not even in the bottom?
No, he's not.
I thought that was so fucking funny.
Is he on the film reel at all?
He might be.
The little film reel?
Is he not in the little film reel? Yeah.
Oh, he is. He is.
He's not like one of the main faces.
Yeah, he's not like one of the main. I just thought that was funny. Like, even in the real context of the movie, he's not he's not the main guy.
I thought they would do some kind of fake out, since he's in the zombie makeup. Some kind of fake out where, like, a shot where she thinks he's a zombie, and he's like, no, this is my makeup. Some kind of think be a zombie and try to sneak past another zombie. And I'm so glad they didn't.
Yeah. And then the guy who had to, I love the guy who had to take a shit, the boom guy. Because just his setup, again, I feel like they put work into it of how he's an asshole when he says to the assistant that he can't drink mineral water or whatever.
Yeah, like it's like mineral water, yeah.
He emailed about this.
Yeah. He goes, the way he looks at that girl and goes, I sent you an email. It's not even that it's like a pretentious actor thing. It's not even that he's mad at her. It's that he genuinely can't comprehend the idea that he told her in an email and she just forgot. He's like, not only disgusted, he just can't fucking comprehend that she would be that, disrespectful to him. He literally just can't comprehend it.
That's kind of the thing too. Like all the real actors are kind of low-key douchebags. Like the guy, like the one shot, he's like, "Was I talking to you?" It's like the one like little aide.
Yeah.
You find out that the actor director and the actor makeup artist having an affair. Like, it's like such a small little line. I'm like, what? Okay.
Oh, it's so intricate in the little details. And again,
there's so many layers.
Yeah, there's so many layers. But what I was getting one back with that second act was I really loved the drunk guy, because we have that scene where he's sitting with the director, and he's got like the picture of his daughter in the script, and he's like, yeah, or he makes a joke that, like, he's gonna stop or he's drinking, and he's like, stops the shakes, and he's like laughing it off, like, and then later he says to the director, he's like, yeah, I haven't seen my daughter because of this, and and then he starts crying. It's not afraid to like, it's dark humor. It's funny dark humor. And it also works into the story because that also plays a part just in the writing, because what they do, like in introducing that fact where he starts laughing and then he's crying because he's like, I can't see my daughter, I fucked up so bad. He's the director's like trying to give him a pep talk. He's like, no man, don't worry, no need to cry. And then it hard cuts to the director in his apartment crying because he's so upset looking at the pictures of him and his daughter, because he's not the director that he wants to be. And I loved that. Like, that was so, like, a lesser movie wouldn't have done that and built that emotional beat. It was just
So it won you back easily by the second act. Like, it didn't take you until the third act to be like, okay, I'm back in.
Yeah.
Like, that's good to know. Because like I said, I mean, I was in the second act. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is interesting. Like, this is a great, interesting concept. Because also, like, I did think, like, oh, okay, the plot of, like, the crazy director has to get his perfect film, and oh, of course, the warehouse is like, has something going on to it. Oh, of course, he made the blood pact to the devil. Like, I was like, this has been done before,
Right. But see, I'm a degenerate, and I wanted my, like, you were like, oh yes, this is a good, like, smart movie. I was like, I want my trash back. Give me back my schlock. Like, this is not what the poster was. I was like, fuck you, movie. But yeah, no, it 1,000% won me back. Then there's other small things like there is a line where someone says, like, that they don't want, I don't know if it's the girl or if it's the guy with the glasses. They do say at one point that they don't want to get vomited on. Like, that was an idea that they had or something during production.
Yes.
And then in real life, in context, he does get thrown up on, but it's real vomit.
It was so funny as he's like what is, he's like, can I open makeup on him? Like, no, shut the hell up, keep going. I thought it was like the comedy was so good. There's a lot of good
it's so good how the guy is really drunk and he's just like falling over the dude, and then he threw up and he's like, what are you doing down here? And then he gets thrown up on and he's just like, ah! So the camera just like moves a little up so you can't really see how much of a shit show that is, like, right there, but you get like all the implied effect of like the screaming and the sound of them struggling a little bit. It's really good.
Yeah,
there's a lot of great physical comedy. Like, he keeps waking up like, are we starting? And like, it's already started.
Yeah. They keep
what's up?
No, go ahead.
No, I think it's like, that's something too, like in the third act, like the drunk guy's like I don't know, like, you enjoy him. Like, it's about a third act, you're like, okay, he's all these new fun characters, and now I get to enjoy them. It was a good I did really, Dan, to go back to the grindhouse part, like in the first 30 minutes, like when the arms tossed in, I always loved the whole, like, it's a trope, but it's like,
I love the cheap,
look how it's so realistic looking.
I love the cheap shit. I love
that trope. It's so good.
Yeah, they're running around, and then when we get into the third act, when we see how the whole thing plays out, I just made a note about the corporate woman, the executive woman that is watching with all the shareholders in the room as they're watching it broadcast live. They're cutting back to her watching the production at some points, and you're we're all wrapped up in the tension and watching the crew run around and do all this like great achievement. They're pulling it off, like trying to, and you cut back to her at one point and she's just like on her phone while she's watching and just going, oh yeah, it's going good. Like the corporate side just doesn't even like care that they're like pulling it off so well.
But I did like how he even goes like, it's a little too long, isn't it? So I thought the exact same thing, like in the first part of the movie. And I'm watching it, I was like, this is going on for a little, like this one scene is a little long. So I like how like even in universe they're like, a little long, isn't it?
Yeah. No, and then when it started to get towards the end, I did think about like the crane thing. I'm like, wait a minute, how are they going to do that crane shot, or how are they going to rise up I was thinking that in general, even before in the first act, I was like, when they did the overhead shot, I was like, how did they do that? And then
wait, so speaking of the end.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the end, so the first time you watch it for the first like 30 minutes, when who we know is the director's wife now, when she pops her head up, what did you guys think? Like, what the fuck did you guys think was going on for that part?
When she has the axe in her head?
When she like pops up in the middle of like what's supposed to be the climax, and she's just like, it's like, she's and then she's like comes back down, and
then they just go start yelling. Like, what did you guys like? I was like, I had no idea. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I genuinely had no clue.
I kept thinking I missed something.
Both times I was like, that was really fucking weird. I don't know what that is, and I think I just like rationalized it as like, oh, maybe she wasn't quite dead, and then she actually died. But like
brain jumps too, but like
yeah, because it's like I'm not saying that's good, but that's what I would have told myself to get through that like moment of like confusion.
It's so good, and then like the real reason is just like it's so good. Like it's the payoffs are so worth it. Like it's such every single payoff is so worth it.
Yeah.
Dan, so you're saying about the crane shot?
Yeah, no, I was thinking when I watched it, when it started to get to that point the second time around, I was thinking, oh yeah, wait a minute, how are they going to do the crane shot? Even like, and then they saw the crane and that it like broke. They had a crane. And I was just like, oh, duh, a crane. They would just attach the camera to a crane and lift it up. Like, I'm not that well versed. All I knew was that I was watching a handheld movie for the entire movie, and then I watched the camera go up, and I was like, wait a minute, how is that physically possible? And I was thinking, oh, duh, stupid fucking crane. But so they set that up. But it was funny when I watched it the second, or when I watch it in the third act, you notice that it actually does look like like it's not a smooth shot. It does look like it's people passing it up, it's like it's wobbly going the way up. It's not a smooth crane shot, which I didn't even think about the first time around, which was so interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no, it's really well done. Well, especially like the shot where when the okay, so I did not when the cameraman falls, and I had to actually go on Wikipedia to see what the fuck he did. Apparently, it's a back injury. I did not like notice that, didn't catch that. I was like, hey, why isn't he moving? What the fuck happened? But then the other production assistant just picks up the camera, and we see she just trips, and then like the guy with the one arm helps her pick her back up, and they keep the shot going. When you first see that initially, that was kind of to go back to Remington's point from earlier, like. And Dan's point, I did think that was a clever use of like, oh, okay, yeah, like the cameraman and the director are so like in sync that it's like a natural like. Remember you were saying like, in real life you'd be like struggling to fucking have this camera because you're running. So I thought that was a good way to show that like, no, it's a human moment, and it's like no, this is just some poor assistant who has to pick up the slack.
Yeah.
So that was really well done.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot to note this down. But this was something I noticed on the second time I watched it. There's a really, really quick, and this is a really cool detail. A really quick throwaway line that one of the girl stagehands says in the third act to the to like the actual cameraman. She says something like, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we what did she say? Like something, wouldn't it be cool if we zoomed the camera in and out on their faces?"
Oh,
And the camera guy goes, "No," or he says something, or he says like, "No, that's fucking stupid," or "That's corny," or something.
He called it
And
cheesy.
cheesy, yeah.
yeah.
And then
cheesy.
when the camera guy
does it.
slips and she picks it up, you
Yeah.
can see in the first version, she does it. She starts doing the, like, her cinematography is literally different from his.
And then the daughter notices it.
Yes.
She notices it. She's like, "Oh, a change in director of photography. Cheesy."
Yeah. Such a...
God, the payoffs are so good. Because I didn't notice that, Dan. I actually didn't notice that until
I didn't-
you explained it now. How
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the same one who was like, "What if we zoomed in on the faces?"
Yeah. It's like, no, it sucks.
I don't know if you noticed too. In the first 30 minutes, there's like a shot where the main actress, she's like screaming, and she screams into the camera, like directly to the camera, like twice.
Yeah, yeah.
That was so good. I think it's on the roof. Yeah, it's on the roof where off screen we're supposed to believe that the main guy's killing the who we now knows the wife.
Yep.
She's like she just looks at the camera twice.
Yeah.
That was actually just like a fun little thing.
Oh god, I was gonna bring up something I totally forgot. When the guy was, shit, I totally just lost what I was gonna bring up. But when the when we were watching the second act, and we're learning about his daughter being a filmmaker, I was originally thinking, oh, I don't really care about this, and then how she comes into play and becomes the director. Just some of the themes I just thought, again, were so effective. I thought that human pyramid was so effective on like just so many levels, like it, like just a teamwork coming together, because that's filmmaking. It's like they achieved this really great thing, they pulled it off.
Yeah.
And the director, an artist who has been just suppressed and feels depressed that he can't be this great artist that he wanted to be, he accomplished it, and he accomplished it with his daughter, and it was so sweet. And then the last shots of them looking at each other, it was, oh my god, I was like, wow, this is fucking brilliant. Like, what a fucking brilliant goddamn movie. And it was just so simple and effective. Just worked for me so fucking well.
Well, Dan, if you like zombie movies that have a bit of a meta aspect to them and have a bit of a twist, like a non-traditional use of zombies, may I avert your attention to one Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island?
What was
This is the twist. That's Remington's pick of the week of the month. It's Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
No, it's not.
No.
But actually, that would be really rad if we're still doing this in a year from now and we did that for like our October movie. That would be really.
I know
rad.
we should think about what the month's gonna be, but what doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There was like one other thing I was thinking of.
It was Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, and how the zombies aren't the bad guys; they're actually helping the heroes. It's really great.
Is that the Terror Time song movie?
Yeah. Yep.
What a fucking classic. We used to be a proper
That movie
country.
is so good.
We used to really be a country.
It's so well animated.
It is.
And it like has such unique commentary on like the Scooby-Doo franchise at that point. Like that's like the whole theme of how it's like we want to find a real monster, because we're tired of fighting guys with masks, and it kind of is like also playing in this space in the 90s of like the rise of home video and like daytime entertainment, and like that kind of like cheesy, like, oh, we're gonna go like film something crazy kind of like vibe that goes along with that environment. And it's just really good. Anyway, that's a separate podcast. But yeah, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, highly recommend.
No, I do.
Okay.
I do remember that. So a couple last things, and I just wanted to. There's some funny trivia. The one thing I did not like about this movie, and it's a small thing, but I just thought it could have been improved. I did not like the music in this movie at all. I thought the
I love the
score.
music. Oh,
Really?
I love
Oh, you
it.
didn't like the music?
I thought it sounded like.
I love the music.
I thought it sound. I love the end song. The end song that they play over the credits, which is a Japanese. By the way,
Mhm.
if you remember the end song at the credits, I love it. It's like it sounds like the Jackson
Oh, it's a
Fives.
bop.
I Want You Back.
Yeah.
But it's not a cover. It's like just a Japanese songs are just apparently it's just like rip-offs. It's not an actual cover of the Jackson 5 song. I don't know, but I did love the end song.
We can talk about Japanese music all day. I'll get about whatever. We'll talk about some other day. But yeah.
The only thing about the music was I did find myself thinking that the music sounded just like fucking stock music. And
Yeah, I thought it was great.
and when I was listening to or when I was watching it, and I'm watching like whether it be in the first act or the third act, and you're watching everyone run around, especially in the first act with the one take, I was just thinking to myself, man, a unique little score or theme would have been really fucking good in this.
Yeah.
I have such a more appreciation to music. I don't know why, like you don't always think about the score, but I tend to pick up on scores now more. And I was like, man, just a nice little banger theme, even if it was subtle and simple, would be great in this. And I just thought the music was kind of just sounded like stock music. So that was the only thing I just.
Well, that's not wrong, but to me it works because
it's supposed
one
to
of
be
the
a
things
low
that's really
budget.
special about this movie is like it's kind of like form reflecting content, in the sense that this movie is depicting like scrappy filmmakers really trying to like make everything they can on like a shoestring budget and get all our eggs in a basket, ducks in a row, and pull everything together in the 11th hour and achieve something, and then just being happy that they did it in the space that they had to do it. And that's in real life like actually what it was like to make the movie if you go and like read about it. And so like to me that those final credits when that and like the music choices throughout kind of like reflect the sensibilities of people who have never made a movie before and are kind of just like putting together their like final lap slideshow, you know what I mean? So in that sense it really it's fitting in that sense to me.
Yeah. I excuse a lot of. I mean, like I said, I shoot the soundtrack, but I also excuse it often because you good.
No, I'm trying to. I'm sorry. I'm just my lighting is all getting fucked up. But yeah, it's okay. There we go.
It's expensive to license music, so I just love when you're able to do a lot effectively with stock music. I mean, this movie was shot for $25,000, so. And licensing music and that $25,000 can be blown easily on a licensed song. Like a record label will be like, yeah, pay up. So I always just appreciate that. I was gonna say, and then I just have a counterpoint to what Dan said. I mean, Halloween has a very iconic thing, and I thought that movie was made on nothing. I looked it up. It was actually made on a $300,000 budget, so never mind. They had money for that movie.
Right.
It happens to be made by John Carpenter, who is also likes to compose almost all of his movies. So like he's just uniquely talented like that.
It works within the context of the movie.
Yeah.
It worked. I was like, man, there would be such a little banger score. But
yeah.
Did you guys?
But I mean, I just watched Mad Max, and that didn't have a huge budget, and I think that was another effective use of like you did what you can with your soundtrack,
Yes, and this is what I always come back to with indie filmmaking of why it's so special. Oftentimes, it's a way to do more with less.
Yes.
I oftentimes find myself knocking movies because I think there's often a temptation to go all out or really reach for it, and that's not always bad. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes you come up with good stuff. This is not me coming out against like innovation or artistry. But oftentimes when you reach too far, it just often comes across as like gratuitous or excessive or contrary to what your goals are. So like, whether that those limitations are set from like really just solid vision of during like shooting or in your script, or maybe it's just like a fantastic edit, like knowing how to like when to kill your babies and like what is most effective in terms of like pace and story and characterization. Like those are all things that I really prize. And this is one of those movies where I think you really just see just an expertly made movie from the ground up, from the script to filming to the edit to everything to coming together and building this thing on, as Gene said, like $25,000 or whatever.
Yeah. No, you can keep what we talk. I mean, fucking Godzilla minus one was what, $10-15 million? It's insane. Like, it's Japanese film.
Yeah, to look that good for so little money. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought you were gonna go. Actually, I thought you were gonna go this way with what you said. So I'll just say it. And like you said, you can do a lot with such a little budget. And I just watched No Time to Die, and that budget was reportedly $250 to $300 million, and it made $774 million at the box office. Apparently, still a financial loss. Apparently, the movie needed to make $800 million to make it any kind of money back because of the marketing, which is insane. Fucking insane to think about. You spent
Fury Road, which made an insane amount of money, which had a insane amount of revenue, but still lost actually money. It was just like a little short. It lost even Fury Road, massive success, cultural phenomenon, considered one of the greatest action movies of all time, one of the best movies of the 2010s. Lost money because it was that so expensive to make.
Yeah, it's insane, and it's like I'm trying to find exactly where the number was. Because of the combined production and promotional cost of at least $350 million, it was estimated the film would needed to gross at least $800 million worldwide to break even. That's $350 million for production and promotion. Like, it's insane. Like, that's fucking nuts to think about. Mm-hmm. And then you have movies like this for $25,000, which sure, like it's not a James Bond movie, but like, come on. And then Godzilla did a fucking ton with what, $25 million,
but you see, the story of this movie should really be a cautionary tale, because I know another journeyman director whose first feature directorial debut was a zombie movie, and his name is Zack Snyder.
That fucking hack.
Yeah, but James Gunn also wrote that one, so how much of that was James Gunn? Let's be honest.
I mean, he just remade Dawn of the Dead. That was his first movie. Prior to that, he was doing music videos and commercials. So, I see this as a cautionary tale, a fable, if you will.
Has anyone looked into this director for this movie, what he's done before or like since?
I've looked at the letterbox of what he's done. There is a spin-off movie that I can't find that was made for TV in Japan called One Cut of the Dead Hollywood that apparently follows.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It follows his daughter. It's like a sequel that I wanted to watch, but it's not available anywhere. And they did like a COVID special on YouTube called One Cut of the Dead Remote during COVID.
I saw that. Yeah,
I was going to watch it. I didn't have time, but I want to watch it.
Also, more like content reflecting form. One of the cast, the cast member who really blew up after this was the girl, daughter, the like pop singer girl. What's her name? It's like Yuki Azumata or something like that. She like went on to become. She's gone on to do like a TV. Yuzuki Akiyama. Yeah, there we go. And she's gone on to do like a bunch of commercials and is like relatively famous now as a result. It's kind of launched her career.
Yeah, she has she had 2 releases this year. Apparently, 2 movies come out this year, and she was on a television show in 2019. So good for her.
Yeah, and so it's like a funny little. It's almost like a callback to the movie in a way, because it's like in the movie they're like, oh yeah, I say your catchphrase all the time, and now she's like well known for like a series of commercials. So yeah.
What's up?
I was just gonna go back to your point about the whole like big budget, small budget thing. Yeah, I think it's the case where, you know, when you have a small budget, it forces you to be more creative and think outside the box and try to make and forces you to have your writing be stronger. As to where it seems like it's the case a lot of the time, where when you have a larger budget, it can allow you to do a lot more and have a lot more resources, but it can also make certain people be more lazy, you know, because they can just use all the bells and whistles that they have at their disposal to, you know, just flash the shiny keys at an audience, but they might not need to have like a great script or anything, or, you know, or good production design, or, you know, blah 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 blah. That's why I always love movies when they, you know, they take place in one location or two locations, or like it's a micro budget, or like how creative did they have to get to be in one location, like just people talking in a room and make
That's
it.
The War Dogs, baby.
Wow.
If you like this kind of movie, Dan, one film that I can recommend, it's not a zombie movie, but it is a one-cut movie, and it is Japanese. It is also, I think, from the same year. I think it's from 2017. It is called, I'm going to pull up the title because I want to get it correct for you. 1 second.
Yeah, I'll look it up. What is it?
I'm going to send it in our chat too, because I'm curious too. I'm just going to write so I can write it down.
Yeah, Crazy Samurai 400 versus 1. It's from 2020 though. I was wrong about the year, but yeah, it is a Japanese film. It is like one cut. The entire thing is like this actor moving around through like this like village in this like wooded area that they constructed, and just like having extras just like running at him and constantly doing like this like elaborate, sophisticated fight scene. I think you get a kick out of that.
Oh, that sounds right up my alley. Oh shit, I'll add that to the watch list.
This is also not my pick, folks, but I just thought that I would bring that up.
No, I was gonna say, an example of this that I discovered from it's a movie that barely anyone's watched. I heard like one or two people talk about it. I think it's was it 2 years ago? Yeah, it was one of my favorite movies that year. It's called The Artifice Girl, which is super micro budget. I think it premiered at South by Southwest, but it's basically just another movie where it's like a 3-act structure, and the first act, all 3 acts are just people talking in a room, and it's about an AI entity, but it's so compelling, and it was like one of my favorite movies of that year. So much of the appeal was just 3 different acts of 3 people talking in a room. So fucking cool, like how strong of a script you have to do something this small, and something but yet so effective. So yeah.
Speaking of interesting filmmaking, is anyone at all interested in that new Tom Hanks movie?
Which one?
No.
Oh, here? I've seen that already.
Yeah.
Oh, was it good? Did you like it?
No.
Oh, it's ass.
Yeah.
Oh, that's upsetting. It's the premise is interesting, so I was like,
it's ass. Just go read the
he was on
novel.
Conan. He was on Conan O'Brien's podcast, and he was great on the podcast. So
I mean, some people like it. It is like boomer nostalgia bait in some ways. But like, yeah, it's pretty ass.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Oh, Paul Bettany's in it. That's cool.
Just looking at some of the trivia things of note. Yeah, like you said, Gene, $25,000 budget, made $25 million or something like that. It basically was it broke like a world record for like something I think I read on Wikipedia. It was like the first movie ever to make 1,000 times its budget. It was like a world record. I mean, it was a fucking smash.
It blew up.
Yeah, it was a smash hit.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking so deserved. what was there was the director, apparently there's a quote from the director that the drunk guy on set, there's a quote apparently that he says that the guy was actually drunk during filming. I don't know if I believe that, but the director does claim that he was legitimately hammered. Oh, this was the point I wanted to something I just wanted to ask. I'm so happy I didn't forget this. When you were watching the third act, there on the Blu-ray of this movie, I know I heard someone say that there is a behind the scenes documentary that you kind of see in the closing credits of the movie, where you see like the actual like film crew making the movie. Were you thinking to yourself, because they did the whole movie, they got it in 6 takes, but my mind was thinking, okay, wait a minute, so do they have like 2 film crews where they have one film crew that's doing the one take movie, and then while they're doing the one take movie, do they simultaneously, are they in real time filming the off screen scenes with the director like going behind the scenes? Like, are they filming that at the same time? Or are those
no, you probably did
or is like
you probably
a
did
mix?
like a day or two of no, you probably do a day or two of the filming the film within a film, True Fear, and then you probably have a day or two of then shooting the third act. Generally,
Yeah.
it goes.
But it
Because
had to have
like
but it had to have looked like they were doing the same takes with the third act and the first act.
if you have good continuity people, you could pull that off.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because like the one take is only like 37 minutes, and that's only like the first act, basically. So everything beyond that, you have a free hand.
They did a pretty good job though of keeping the first act and the third act like the same.
Well, that's what I mean. It's even more admirable and just impressive, just from because it's not only that they have to pull off doing a one take movie for 37 minutes, they have to also do the off-screen scenes, and if they're not doing them in real time, they have to make it look like they match up. I mean, that is like serious.
I mean,
that's a serious achievement.
What is it? Remington, like one page of a script is like a minute or some shit like that. Like you have a script supervisor who keeps that all locked in. So as long as as long as the script for the first act, the third act, match up timeline wise, you can pull it off. And like Remington said, as long as you have good continuity people, like it happens all the time in acting. You're doing a ton of shit. Damn, you ever been on set? I forgot. Like when you do background work, dude, your fucking takes you just do a ton of takes. That's just what it is.
Yeah. All I'm saying is.
The Q&A I was at with Barry Keoghan for his new movie, Bird, like that's what we were laughing about, because he revealed that he had no idea what the movie he was like basically starring in was about until he actually went and saw the full thing at hand, because like he only was there for like his scenes, and like there's like a whole other movie that goes on without his character. And so like he was just like, oh, that's what it was about, and that's why Franz Rogowski was in that costume. Okay.
It's like
what?
Movie does the same thing for the actors. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I read forgot who it was. It was Emma. What's her name? The money actress.
Yeah,
Emma Watson.
She talked about how like filming, like Daniel Radcliffe, the movie he was filming was like the movies that like Rupert Grint and Emma Watson shot were more like teen drama-y versus what Daniel Radcliffe had to go and shoot. Like it's like like when you're experiencing it,
they weren't in those scenes. They were probably in their trailers, when that was happening. Or since they were child actors, they were probably doing school, which is like a thing you're supposed to do. But
all the scenes are like a love drama with Ron and Hermione, while Harry's going out with I forgot the Dumbledore actor and doing all these Horcrux stuff. So that's So it for sure, like as the actor, like what you're experiencing is like, it's. Then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, okay.
Well, that was kind of the whole thing around the Avengers movies, right? Is that I don't even think when what was it? Infinity War and Endgame came out. I don't think any of the actors even had full versions of the actual scripts because they wanted because it was so secretive. Even the actors didn't get the full script, so they were all. And of course, once you get to like Infinity War, Endgame, there's so many of them. All of these like A-list stars. That's why the last shot of Endgame, or not the last shot, the one of the scenes, the Tony Stark funeral, was supposed to be so impressive because it was a one take of every actor actually in one place at the same time, because no way in fuck were they getting half of those people, you know, in front of a green screen on the same day. Like,
oh yeah, no, it's they're busy people. Yeah, I mean, filmmaking's very, very interesting. And Dan, like, definitely, like, if you ever actually do background work, you're telling me you want to do background work, like, I think you would just love being on the set and like seeing how the fucking
sausage is made
or whatever. It's really just fun to see. And like,
I'm hoping to get into it at some point.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, days can be long. It's fun though, but like, you know, it can be tiring.
Included among Letterboxd's top 250 horror films of all time. That makes sense.
Which is so funny because, like, is it a horror film? I mean, like,
it's a comedy.
It's a comedy.
But by the way, though, I'm more comfortable calling this a horror film than like 90% of what we call horror films nowadays. I think.
Like what?
I don't know. I'm thinking of a lot of movies coming out this year, like. Okay, when I think of The Substance, I would call The Substance body horror. That adds up, but or let's put it this: I'm trying to think of oh my god, this A24 movie that triggered me so much. It's one of the worst movies I've seen all year. The Front Room, with Brandy. They called that a horror movie, and the trailer made it look like a horror movie. It's okay to call something a thriller. Why is I feel like everything that is like considered
I don't agree with that. I don't think that's a thriller.
I feel so. Which one?
I do think that's a horror movie.
So
maybe it's not a good horror movie, but I do think that's a horror movie.
The Front Room?
He calls it a psychological horror. Yeah, I don't know. Would you say it's psychological at least?
A little bit, because it's kind of like the horror of like it's like the horror of having to like take care of an elderly person who you despise, basically, but you feel obligated to like attend to. You know, it's like the horror of being trapped in that situation. The problem is that because of the sensibilities of the people who wrote and directed it, it just goes to such like absurd extremes that it's just like not enjoyable to sit through anymore, and things don't add up or make sense in any way. So you lose a lot, despite what I would say is probably really good character work from what's her name?
Brandy.
Catherine Hunter.
Okay, yeah.
Who plays the elderly person. You know, she's an excellent little. She's on her like weird freak arc, and I love everything that she does. But yeah, you can only sit there and take like MESS mess like so long. You know, you can only do so much of that.
God, I mean, I guess mission accomplished. I hated that movie so fucking much.
Yeah,
but no, I get what you mean. I guess I shouldn't say horror. I would maybe say like drama. I guess when I think of horror, and especially in the marketing, you know, you think. I feel like I think of the genre of thriller. Describing something as a thriller is much more broad than I would say something is a horror. I feel like everyone loves to just call everything a horror movie now, and now the term horror is kind of like cheapened. So I don't know.
Well, it's like because there's like a real tension between
yelling
like
at cloud here.
What
back in
what
my
you
day.
Call which? Like I don't disagree with that. Like, you know, like classically, like Silence of the Lambs is treated as like one of the greatest horror films of all time. But is it really a horror movie? It's really more of a psychological thriller if you think about it. It's not really. It wants to shock you, but it's not really trying to scare you. You know, it's not. Right. It's not. playing and like there's no jump scares, there's no
Yeah.
boogeyman, there's no monster, you know.
Well, like, yeah.
You're not like
It's really
really
long-lived.
you're not party to like many of the kills in Silence of the Lambs. It's really more just about kind of like playing with the like psychology of evil. You know what I mean? And capturing a
Yeah.
lot of those dynamics. It's not even a slasher really. Like yeah, you see some people die, but it's not following the like traditional mold of slasher.
It's
And
more akin to
that I think
Seven, in my
relates to what
opinion.
Dan's
Yeah, it's more akin to 7 in my opinion. I'd say it's closer to 7 than like a slasher. In my opinion.
Yeah, and seven is the same way. I would agree.
And that is I actually, and I'm looking at it now, like I've never heard anyone call 7 a horror movie, and even it's like a crime thriller, and I can see it.
Yeah,
so it's more like a thriller. For sure. So yeah, that's a good point. People definitely put what's it called, Silence of the Lambs as a horror movie, and it's like, not really.
I just wouldn't call Front Room a thriller because thrillers, I think, thrillers operate on like they want to get you like tense and eager to like see what happens next.
I guess
and I don't think that's what Front Room is trying to do.
Shutter Island is a thriller.
For that specific case, I should have said drama, not thriller.
Disturbia? I think drama is like more accurate.
Appropriate, yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Never a Shia LaBeouf movie, Disturbia. It's more thriller. It has like elements of slasher, but it's more thriller. It's like PG-13, so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. One thing I forgot to mention that, again, this is going way back to that I loved so much. Going back to the watching it for the first time, and we're in the first act, and again, I'm operating on the level of, wow, this is so impressive that this is all one take. When they first, when the boom guy runs out of the warehouse for the first time, there's a great thing that the camera does where the camera turns around back to all four, like the director, the makeup artist, and the boy and the girl, and it's all of them looking at the camera. It's right before the director looks right at the camera and goes, "Keep filming, keep rolling," and runs out. It's right before that, like the main like thumbnail image of the movie. I was watching that and I thought, wow, what amazing shot composition that like they turn around and they're all perfectly in frame, like looking at the camera. Like that's the thumbnail image of the movie right there. Like that's great that they caught that. That was such a big detail in my mind that I was thinking even at the first viewing of how cool that was. Bless you.
Thank you.
But yeah, it was anyway, yeah, that was the last thing that I wanted to highlight. But yeah, great stuff.
We don't like the soundtrack.
It's just the only thing. I was
I really enjoyed it. It was fun.
And it does, again, I'll concede that it does fit with the idea of a low budget, but I just was thinking, man, watching this girl run around with a nice little stingy bop would be cool. But all right, you want to go into ratings? Unless you guys have anything else, I don't have much else.
No, that does it for me.
It's a good 1090.
Yeah. So I'm at a 9 out of 10. Might be at a 10. I really, really fucking loved this. I even I think I put this on my top 50 of all time now. Just how fun, how good it made me feel at the end, and how sweet it was. And I also got my trashy horror movie. And that was just so funny. And genuinely hilarious. So yeah, I think it's basically a masterpiece. The music is just a little bit off for me, but I was just I can't wait to, like, I want to watch it again. I could throw this on anytime. It's really between this and Mad God being a Shudder original. I really might have to just pull the trigger on getting a Shudder subscription, knowing that this fucking movie will always be on Shudder. This and Mad God, they're killing it. So I would recommend it to anyone. Like I would tell anyone to watch a movie like this. It's not like just some weird thing.
Yeah.
That I
No,
love.
it's fun. It's a fun movie.
But what about you guys?
I believe. Oh, you want to go first, Gene?
I can go first.
All right. I believe on Letterboxd, I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. I'm a big fan of this movie. I kind of feel the same way as Dan. You know, it's a short, sweet movie that just really comes together, knows what it's about, fully delivers in its execution, and knows how to make more with less. Watching it a second time really gave me even more appreciation as I could see the like sort of theatrical sensibilities come through, and I could see like it's very interesting the ways that because this was like the director's first time doing something like this, how that and like all the cast is operating under the assumption of like because they were all drama students. They had never been in a movie before. He like went to a drama school and recruited all of them. And so like they're also playing with the idea of, oh, we have to pull this off. We have to do this long take. And we have to like have these characters with like dual dimensions. So it's a really interesting exercise in like like content reflecting form reflecting content. And I truly enjoy it, and it's one of my favorite things to throw on Shudder.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Gene?
4.5 out of 5 for me for sure. It's like I don't know why it can't. It's not a perfect movie, but I mean I also have like Hot Fuzz to me is a perfect movie, so I have weird sensibilities. But yeah, no, for sure. Incredible movie. Tight 90. I definitely recommend it to anybody. I'm gonna have my brother watch it, see if he'd be interested in it. Yeah, no, I honestly have nothing bad to say about this movie. I definitely want to rewatch it because, like how Dan said, it definitely feels like you get rewarded for that, especially the first, the first act of the movie. So I'm looking forward to that.
Can I? Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
Well, I watched it by myself. Like Miriam didn't watch it, so that's a good reason for me to be like, "Hey, Miriam, watch this movie." And Miriam's a fan of, Japanese cinema, so
yeah,
reason to watch it again.
Can I got to admit something. This is so funny. When I was watching this, Gene, I kind of thought the director looked like you.
Oh, does he? Like the in movie director.
Yeah, you know what it is, and I was thinking about it. It's not, it's not. I was watching this whole movie thinking
Am I
that
a Japanese man? I don't know.
You know what it is. It's not just the beard and the hair. It was the Hawaiian shirt he wears.
Also, he is a little tan.
And I don't know.
I am known for varying way. I know I'm very Hawaiian shirty in the summer.
And then
yes, you are.
I don't know. Like I'm like, have I ever seen Gene in a Hawaiian shirt? But I was like, it's so you coded. I was like, the entire time.
Yeah.
I was watching this movie like it was, and like he had a daughter, and like I thought it was so sweet at the end, so it was a nice extra layer. But I was like, this guy looks like Gene to me, even though I don't. It's coded. It's Gene coded. I was.
Dude, my summer main character outfit is like a Hawaiian flowery like shirt, above the knee shorts and Birkenstocks. Remember, you've seen it many times.
Maybe I have.
You've seen it many times.
Maybe I have. I thought I was just like, why do I have I even seen?
That's my go-to summer outfit.
Yeah, it was the shirt that like did it. I don't know why, but anyway,
he is Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Quick thing. When you, I just went to Google just to look at the director real quick, and I got a quick thing from R Horror. I'm 25 minutes into One Cut of the Dead. It's awful. And every comment is like, "Oh boy!" Every comment is like, "Just keep watching." Every comment is like, "Just keep watching, please."
Someone posts like the GIF of James Franco in the Noose going first time.
Yeah. they're like they're just screaming and shoving each other. Nothing's happening. Like, what the fuck is going on? Why this is so bad? I don't understand why it's so recommended.
So funny because I was the exact opposite. I was like, yes, this is my hobo with a shotgun. This is my grindhouse. This is my.
See, like I said, I wasn't at like, oh, this is awful. I was just kind of like, yeah, like it's not bad, but what's the appeal?
Right. It's very my taste coded in the like just from the poster. Like this is my bread and butter.
Yeah,
but
love garbage.
I love the schlock. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Good fucking choice, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Yeah, no, I like I said, if I always, I don't know, I'll probably recommend movies in the future that we've all seen before, just as like a revisit. But I want to like try to dive into things that I haven't seen on a list.
No, please give me new shit. I love new shit.
Typically,
like, so you guys have each given me something I've never seen before, so I definitely like that.
Yeah, typically it'll be something that I have an inkling like that it's good, or like I've heard good things. That's why, so I'm going off of that instinct. But yeah, cool.
Right.
On my new
Remington's now, I really want to know what he's going to recommend.
Yeah, Remy, hit us with something. Show me something challenging. I want to watch a 5-hour Lawrence of Arabia.
He doesn't want a comedy because it's been 3 comedies. So
yeah,
I really
don't
know
coddle me. Show me Schindler's
We're watching.
List.
No, we're watching Showa. No, I'm kidding. We're not watching Showa.
No, just to preface, like I don't know if you guys remember, Remington was like, "I am not picking a comedy because the past 3 movies have been comedies."
Which I agree.
We're watching Decalogue. No, we're not watching Decalogue. But anyway, folks, yes, it's true. I had a lot riding on this one because I'd had my very specific qualms with the current selection that we have, and so I sat down, like really burning the midnight oil, puzzling over what I was going to pick for my selection for the December selection. I was like, what should I do? What should I do? It is December. Should I just go with the classic, like cheap, warm, feel-good Christmas movie? We've already talked about Emmett Otter's Jump Band Christmas on this podcast, and I would love to do an episode on that. But no, dear listener, I said no, we will not revert to type. We will not be doing the cheap Christmas movie. But what should we do? What should we do? I asked. I said, well, we just had the election. Like, what's topical with that? There are really good, like anti-fascist movies or movies that are like about like concerns with the rise of fascism, right? We could do something exhausting. We could do Rules of the Game. We could do Grand Illusion, or maybe something recent like Paul Schrader's First Reform. But I was like, no, that's too obvious. We can't. That's too on the nose. No. And then I thought, well, what's right around the corner? It will be December. We're going to be getting some big Oscar news soon. And I thought, well, what's something that kind of intersects these things? I thought December, winter,
it's so good.
Oscars. Who's going to get nominated? Probably.
Wait.
Anti-fascism. What are we going to do? And that's, dear listener, is when I came up with what my selection will be. I give you Denis Villeneuve's Polytechnique.
What is it?
Polytechnique.
You cut out.
Polytechnique.
Polytechnique?
Yeah, I said that like 5 times. Did you not?
You cut out for me. But I've never heard of this.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, it's a 2000. Yes, the guy who directed. So Denis Villeneuve.
Yes, I know Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Yes, so before Denis Villeneuve became the blockbuster god that we know him to be, before he became the man who directed the indie darlings of Prisoners and Enemy, he was a aspiring French-Canadian filmmaker, and one of his great films to come out of Quebec was Polytechnique. I give you, dear listener, Polytechnique, his dramatic retelling of the very real 1989 École Polytechnique massacre, in which when we will be airing this, it will be a few days after the 35th anniversary of this massacre. This happened in 1989 at a college in Montreal, and while they didn't have the term back then, it was perpetrated by what today we would call incels.
Ooh.
So this is Yeah, this is before Arrival, Blade Runner, and both Dunes. Holy shit! Okay,
He's made a lot of
And
movies.
before Incendies, which is like really big, like famous early work. Incendies. So Polytechnique. That's what I'm going with.
I love it.
is this in English? Is the movie in English or is it like in French?
I think it's like both in English and French.
Okay, cool.
I love it.
Yeah,
I've been
it's
trying
interesting.
to. I've tried to go back and watch some of Denis Villeneuve's older stuff. I've only gotten as far back, I think, as Enemy. I think Infidels or whatever. I think that's on my watch list. But no, I haven't heard of this
Incendies.
one. Inside, yeah, that one
Incendies.
but this
Yeah,
one I
yeah,
haven't.
I've seen both Dunes and I've seen Incendies. I haven't seen anything between there. Blade Runner 2049 is coming up on my watch list.
I love Arrival so fucking much.
Oh yeah, Arrival has been on the list. They're all on the list. I've been trying to watch like all of his stuff for like the longest.
I just need to praise. I just need to praise your sales pitch, and this should be a whole part of the show. That was great. I want to be at the edge of my seat. You did put like that is a lot of thought into you actually found that it's the anniversary of the massacre, the real event. Jesus.
It won't be like the day of, we'll be like a couple days removed, but yeah, we'll be right around when that happened, basically.
That's great.
The 35th anniversary.
Oh my God, I loved that. All right, Gene, going forward, we got to do like a big build up and a sales pitch, like an elevator pitch for the movie.
Yeah.
That is so good.
I have my movie pick. I'm stuck between two movies. I'm actually gonna have Miriam help me decide. You'll understand why later on. But like, I have a sales pitch already as well.
It's gonna be a rom-com. It's gonna be.
Oh no, it's not. It's good. You guys are gonna love it. You guys are gonna be so happy. I mean, my two picks. Like, I think you guys like live. I like either or. I'm just not sure which one I want to have you guys watch.
Okay. Yeah. No. I'm so excited.
Both are about two directors I fucking adore. So.
Okay. I'm so excited for this Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, before he became a huge blockbuster hit. Okay.
I was gonna tell you guys. This tip. This is an advantage you would have over me that I probably don't have over either of you. But I don't know why, unless it's something I know that we've all seen. I try to pick something that neither of you have seen before. Remington, if it's you, I have to like assume it's like.
Remington's watched everything.
Yeah, before.
Well, I haven't watched this movie, so I just picked something that I hadn't seen.
Oh, cool. You haven't? Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen this.
You said you've only watched Dune and what else from him?
I've seen both of the Dunes and I've seen Incendies. Those are the only ones of his I've seen.
Okay. Surprised you've never seen Blade Runner.
But what I was gonna say was you guys can there's probably a pretty good shot if you look up a movie on Letterboxd, you can see if I've watched it. Because I've had Letterboxd.
The Metacritic for this is a 63. That's so good. I can't wait.
I'm excited. I will say I've seen a lot of Denis Villeneuve's movies, the more recent ones. Prisoners is great. The Sicario movies are great. I saw Enemy and I hated Enemy, the Jake Gyllenhaal one. So we'll see. But no, I'm so interested. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I've never seen this, and I'm hoping that we enjoy it.
All right, cool.
Enjoy it before we have to watch Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
I'm gonna make sure to make a whole night out of it. And 77 minutes, so I can watch it. Usually I try to I'll try to watch it twice because I like to just take notes and have a little dossier. So all right, cool. Awesome, guys.
77 minutes, that's it. Oh wow. Okay.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. Well, this was fun.
Well, we did it. Another one in the bag.
Sign us off.
Yeah.
Sign us off, Daniel.
Thank you everyone for watching. Patreon.com/Dan Ivy. Be sure to check out the channel. All right. And we love you all. All right, I'm just gonna end stream. All right.
Bye.
Dan doesn't have a plug where to find each other. I was gonna say, don't find me on X.
Where to find you?
No, get off.
It's okay. X. No, Dan, you always edit it so our handles are in the corner. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
No. Don't find me anywhere. I gotta leave X as well. Apparently, it's bad now. It's so bad.
I did get a real kick out of tagging Remington in something the other day, and I laugh at your angrier every day, and I'm like, oh, is that so fucking appropriate? I bet you could.
Yeah.
You could put that handle up for sale and make good money off of it. You know.
Oh my god, I should like change it. I don't like it. It makes me sound like so edgy.
Oh yeah, it's so good. I'm access every fucking other sponsored ad is like Donald Trump is taking America back, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. Oh my god.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, why am I getting shit from like back to back Elon, Sargon of Akkad, like some fucking Republican politician? Like, I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't care about this.
Well,
I mean, I can't believe we didn't see the Lord Sidious promised us peace.
Yeah.
I guess like I don't know. I missed out. I guess a bunch of fucking right wing dudes were like, "You mean he's super pro Israel?" I don't.
all right.
Anyway, this was fun.